Şimdi bir panelimiz olacak. Panelimizin başlığı Küresel Yapay Zeka Yönetişimi, Ortak Yol. Tam da az önce dediğim gibi bir ortak yol bulunmak durumunda. Bir entegrasyon süreci, çok zor bir süreçten geçiyoruz. Sayın Cumhurbaşkanı Yardımcımız Cevdet Yılmaz bunun bir geçiş süreci olduğunu ve hani elektriğin bulunması, tekerleğin icadı gibi bir süreç içerisinde olduğumuzu ve bu geçiş dönemini en güzel şekilde hayatımıza katmamız gerektiğini aktardı. Evet, zannedersem hazırız. Şimdi bir videomuz olacak. Önce videomuzu izleyeceğiz. Bize destek olan firmalarımızdan birinin videosu bu. Bronz sponsorlarımızdan NGN'nin tanıtım videosunu izleyeceğiz. Sonra bağımsız bir konuda, bağımsız bir başlıkta panel düzenimizi devam ettiriyor olacağız. Önce videomuzu izleyelim. Evet, bronz sponsorumuz NGN'ye bir kez daha teşekkür ediyoruz desteklerinden ötürü ve şimdi panel başlıyor. Küresel Yapay Zeka Yönetişimi, Ortak Yol Arayışı ve moderatörümüzü davet edelim. Sayın Çiğdem Akın, AYPA Yapay Zeka Diplomasi Komisyonu Başkanı, Avrupa Birliği İşleri Uzmanı, kıdemli Yapay Zeka Politika Uzmanı. Çiğdem Hanım, hoş geldiniz. Evet, kıymetli moderatörümüzün ardından panelistlerimizi davet edelim hemen. Sayın Kai Zenner, Dijital Politika Danışmanı ve Axel Voss AP, Avrupa Parlamentosu Üyesi Ofis Başkanı.
Hi, thank you. Good. Thank you.
Sayın Isabel Lewis, İsviçre Federal İletişim Ofisi Ofcom Kıdemli Politika Danışmanı. Ve Sayın Fariz Cafarov, 4. Sanayi Devrimi Analiz ve Koordinasyon Merkezi C4IR Azerbaycan İcra Direktörü. Ve söz kıymetli moderatörümüzde, sözü kendisine bırakıyoruz ve keyifle dinliyoruz bu paneli.
Kıymetli Hazirun, panelimiz İngilizce olacak aslında ama öncelikle öğle yemeği öncesi sabırla burada olduğunuz için teşekkür etmek istiyoruz ve izninizle İngilizce devam edeceğim. You know, AYPA closely follows global developments in the field of AI and contributes to Turkey's AI vision by guiding these developments. Today, together with our distinguished speakers from Azerbaijan, Belgium and Switzerland, we will explore different approaches to AI, law and policy making. We will ask some questions. What are the AI strategies and practices of different countries? Are they similar? Should they be similar? What about national and local differences we have at different legal traditions and policy-making cultures? Should we preserve them? Can we preserve them? So we are still actually seeking answers to these questions together and globally. Since we have limited time, I'd like to focus on your national experiences, actually domestic, I should say, EU visit with us too, at domestic level. First of all, I'd like to start with you, Faris. should I say I lost my cards because I have changed them many times. Faiz, I'd like to ask you about Azerbaijan. What are you doing at Azerbaijan right now about sectoral changes, sector digital transformation, about actually mostly about the sectors?
Thank you so much. Actually, I would like to thank our friends of inviting us here to our second motherland, to Turkey. I'm very happy to be here. If you take into consideration in terms of AI that you also showed in the pillars that as a cake, there are several layers that we have to follow. In terms of strategic vision, Azerbaijan has already adopted AI strategy last year. It was signed by the president, and it covers all human capital development, infrastructure part, legislation, and we have implementation part and international relations, because as a silo we cannot move forward. Second, the investment part is also important. Right now, Azerbaijan attracting international investment to Azerbaijan in terms of AI. Infrastructure part, as a government, we already have G-Cloud. It's been there since 2018, but now we are investing more. Recently, we signed new contracts with Oracle and other American companies to open AI, cloud-based AI data centers in Azerbaijan. And as you know, SOCAR in Azerbaijan is an energy provider. So we do think that energy is a vital component in AI. So as a SOCAR, already the positioning is not only selling energy, but also investing in the data centers in Azerbaijan. So as a country, we don't think that we have to only develop AI infrastructure for Azerbaijan, and we are standing between Central Asia, East and West, and we play the middle corridor. Therefore, Azerbaijan investing in data centers and AI in a way that it can serve not only for Azerbaijan, but also Central Asia and South Caucasia. Plus, as you know, it is also important to have human capital in place. Recently, we signed a contract with OpenAI to provide more than 100,000 Azerbaijani students artificial intelligence knowledge and experience. And since 2023, we have a contract with Coursera, largest online education provider. We are giving access more than 70,000 Azerbaijanis to more than 18,000 courses online, including AI. We think that life learning is very important and very vital in nowadays, because AI requires everyday changes, and to get aligned with all the changes happening globally, our people need to be aligned with that. Governance is also important. Therefore, as a government, Azerbaijani government, we have recently in February created a central body who is going to govern all AI implementation and policy happening in the country. It's very high level. It is chaired by the Vice President of Azerbaijan, and it has all members, including digital development, Ministry of Economy, Justice, Central Bank for fintech and other sectors. We have Ministry of Education for human capital part, and we have 75 action plan, which is specific KPIs, what we have to do and how we can actually move forward AI. But before coming all this strategy, since 2012 in Azerbaijan, we started a big digital transformation roadmap. Without data, AI doesn't work. Therefore, as a government, we started to build data infrastructure plus information systems in Azerbaijan. I used to be the head of the e-government and digital government in Azerbaijan for 5 years. We have created more than 100 e-services in Azerbaijan. Right now, it takes just 3 minutes to fill out application, and it takes 3 hours to get a visa to come to Azerbaijan. 700,000 Azerbaijani farmers using e-agriculture platform to apply for subsidies from the government and to understand what's going on in agriculture sector. We have online procurement system where all private sector can apply for government procurement and act in the process. In Azerbaijan, it takes a couple of seconds to get your ID card, passport. And it takes, Azerbaijan is the first country in the world who gives online mobile notary services to population. We have ID card, biometric card, and biometric ID. All these enablers made us to be ready for AI revolution, because without integrated data management system between government agencies and without integration to the private sector and startups, you cannot apply and deploy any kind of AI. So what we say, fragmented systems creates fragmented AI applications, but well-integrated and data-governed system creates better AI applications that we see right now in agriculture. We have in tax authority AI applications where we can see frauds. In customs service, we also applied AI. In central bank and in other private banks, we have AI applications where we do credit scoring. In Azerbaijan, you can use your mobile phones and pay with Apple Pay, Google Pay, anywhere you wish. You can share your data through your MyGov application, where you can see every document and information about yourself. And right now, we have listed down several sectors: energy sector, manufacturing sector, and also we have agriculture and education sector, where we're going to apply AI applications and to see the real result. Basically, we know that globally there is a nice figures, 20 trillion USD contribution to global economy of AI. The same calculation, if you do to Azerbaijan economy, we can actually get another Azerbaijani budget with application of AI. So by 2040, that we forecast that if we do in the sectors and we see the economic value and GDP rise in different sectors. And plus, latency and connectivity is also important. Therefore, right now, we have over 90% internet coverage in the country, because without internet, there is no AI access. And plus, latency is also important, that since we are attracting international investment and big hyperscalers to Azerbaijan, we have to give them high-speed internet. Therefore, we built a digital Silkway program, which we have optic cables starting from China, passing Caspian Sea and going to Turkey and to Black Sea, which connects all these areas that will create another great opportunity and infrastructure for the future for Azerbaijan and the region. I think in a short period of time, I tried to cover 10 years implementation and next 10-year forecast and vision of Azerbaijan. It's difficult, but I did my best. Thank you.
Thank you. You did great. Actually, Azerbaijan has been doing great. I mean, about infrastructure, you are not just have a strategy, you don't just have a strategy, but you have been doing a lot in various sectors. So it's great to hear from you about that. So Isabel, about Switzerland. How is Switzerland approaching AI governance? Which international processes are shaping the national perspective? Thank you.
Thank you so much for this question, and I found it interesting to come just after this very in-depth analysis of what's happening in Azerbaijan. Switzerland approaches AI governance a bit differently. So Switzerland in general is a country that's hesitant in creating new laws. We're not liking over-regulation. We don't want to have too many rules, but we want to make sure that we are still protecting the population, that we're still making sure that the AI development is happening in a safe environment. So our approach we don't have an AI strategy, for example. We have a digital strategy, which is quite high level, overviewing where we want to go digitally, but we don't have something specific for AI. But we cover and follow a lot of international processes, and that informs us a bit on how we're doing it then nationally, and we then try to focus mostly on the sectors. So we go with AI regulation in a more sector-specific lens. So in the health sector, maybe certain regulations and rules need to be adapted to how AI is used in the health sector. Same thing with construction or with workers' rights, etc., or data protection. Then we will change that regulation, that law, and include AI in it instead of having an overview or an overarching regulation. So this is a bit the approach Switzerland has been taken in general. How can we make sure that innovation is at the center? How can we make sure that we have new AI companies that can come to Switzerland, that can start, that our universities can produce new knowledge, but how can we also make sure that we're safeguarding the people? And the safeguarding part is a bit where there's an interesting point to come in. Switzerland was very active in the negotiations for the Convention from the Council of Europe on AI governance, human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. It was actually chaired by my boss, Thomas Schneider. So we were very involved, of course, in this process. And this is a bit the guidance that we have for our view nationally. So our Federal Council decided when they signed the convention that we will base our AI regulation on the convention from the Council of Europe. As you know, Switzerland sits surrounded by the EU, and I'm happy to hear then a bit more on the EU side. So we have a lot of negotiations with the EU. Our companies go out to the EU mostly, and so we're very much looking at what the EU does. And we had conversations on how we would want to follow or not the AI Act, but decided that instead of retaking an EU law and then adding a little Swiss finish to it, which is something we've done with other regulations, we would focus on something that we have in common, which is the Convention from the Council of Europe. So we are now in the process of writing an overarching law on AI. So this is the one thing that is contradicting my first statement, but it is focused on human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. So specifically that point, to make sure that within all of the sector-specific regulations that we have, we're including the most important part, which is safeguarding people. And so this process is ongoing. We have both the legal part and then other measures that are being put into place, favorizing standardizations, etc. And we will have normally a draft that would be shared to the public in 2027. The dates are yet to be determined, but that's a bit what we're doing in Switzerland, and the international processes then that we are covering, taking a lot of inspiration also from the OECD with the definition of AI that was negotiated in 2019, then again in 2023, and then we're very active at the UN also to make sure that when we are discussing about AI, this is something that goes beyond our borders. We're not only looking at our relationship with the EU, which is extremely important, but we're looking at how we can govern AI as a whole. What capacity building do we need to share with the world? Do we need to get from the world? Do we need to maybe get from countries like Azerbaijan, who have such a detailed process on how they're thinking about AI? And how can we make sure that we're working together? So that's one of our top priorities on it. Thank you.
Thank you. I was in Switzerland many times. I visited Switzerland many times, and you actually integrated AI within life. So it's great. And with Council of Europe AI Treaty, I know how Thomas worked a lot for that. He's still working on it a lot. So my last question to you, Kai, the European Union part, with 27 member states applying the same AI rules. What was the EU aiming to achieve with the AI Act? Does it still serve that purpose in today's changing geopolitical environment?
Yes.
Thank you.
So maybe I make on this one. So first of all, many thanks also from my side for the invitation to this great event. And yeah, I'm always very happy to engage outside of the European Union, because I think we can learn a lot from outside and with each other and so on. And this will be also a kind of baseline of what I'm now talking about. The European Union, we heard already today several times about the AI Act, so I will not summarize or tell you about the risk-based approach. You saw it from our colleague from Ericsson. But what I want to do is a little bit to tell you what was the original idea, and indeed, as you heard in the question, where we are now heading, what the situation is, or where the problems are. As someone who was involved from the very beginning, and I'm also partially to blame for certain things in the AI Act that are not working, maybe it's important to underline at the very beginning our, let's say, 3 core goals with the European AI Act. First of all, it was really to establish, let's say, an ecosystem of trust was our term, so legal certainty for our companies, for our citizens, and so on, to really make sure, also for foreign companies that are active in our single market, that everyone knows kind of what to do, what to bid, what to deploy, what to sell, and so on, and so on. As I said, not everything worked out. Also, the AI Act has a lot of benefits and strengths, especially when it comes to the legal certainty point. Well, we are now still at the starting time, but especially our companies are complaining that many things are very much unclear, that there are overlaps with other EU laws like the GDPR and so on. So here, hopefully over the next months and years, we are improving, but yeah, we are not really where we wanted to be. When it comes to innovation, the second point, the AI Act was part of a broader AI strategy. You can find it in the so-called 2020 AI white paper. But also here, we didn't so far manage to, and therefore it was really interesting what my co-panelist from Azerbaijan was explaining and demonstrating, because to be very honest, I think we exactly in Brussels, in the European Union, are facing those problems where you seem to be much stronger. We are working a lot of different work silos that are not connected. We often lack this overarching strategies and ideas, and especially on AI innovation, it backfired, and yeah, there are some smaller fundings in member states that often disappeared in the end. And now, because I'm outside of the European Union, as last point, foreign policy or the geopolitical point, the AI Act, of course, was written in a completely different world, let's say, or global stage. You remember back then we had the 2019 ethical guidelines from the OECD. They were being adopted by G20 and so on. And not only with the United States, but in general, UNESCO, OECD, Council of Europe, and so on. We had a lot of international platforms where we work together. It's still ongoing. Yes, Council of Europe was also successful in adopting the convention, but again, compared to the early times of AI policy on global level, it's a fact that it's becoming more difficult. If you look to the action plan in Washington, it's a complete different approach now compared to the AI Bills of Rights under Biden. It's first of all about scaling, speed, and only afterwards, you are testing and you are coming forward with permission. And therefore, back to your question, I think it's important that the European Union are questioning itself if everything from our current AI strategy is really workable, if we maybe need to change certain things, and especially as the last point when I was talking about the geopolitical world, I do feel, we will not have a situation where other countries are copy-pasting the European AI Act. We will have a lot of different approaches. I'm actually, as a person working for a conservative liberal party, I'm often looking to Switzerland and thinking, a bit less regulation would also be something we could introduce in the European Union. But therefore, I do believe we will see a lot of competition, a kind of regulatory race maybe even, or policy race. And in the end, with a positive outlook, hopefully a kind of collection of best practices. And this would be my suggestion for the European Union in the next months, to maybe focus less on exporting the overall AI Act and trying to convince other countries to, again, replicate it. But the AI Act, and with that it would be my closing point, the AI Act is establishing a whole system of AI governance with templates, with standards, with regulatory sandboxes, with yeah, benchmarks and so on. And while maybe other countries are nowadays not so willing to copy-paste certain articles from the AI Act, I do believe, and my both co-panelists also indicated it, I do believe there's a lot of room for cooperation when it comes, for example, to accidents notification systems that were developed at the OECD level, to AI governance, again to internationally or multinational regulatory sandboxes, to certain red teaming protocols and so on. So really going into the technical level and looking there where we are aligning, where we have similar ideas, and yeah, pushing there forward against some geopolitical risks and tensions that are currently there. Maybe I stop there in terms of time, but yeah.
You summarized it great. Maybe you should make a chart about that too. That would be nice. Actually, we are all watching EU with interest, whether EU AI Act will have this Brussels effect like the GDPR. Let's see. We will all see. After hearing all of you, I guess we seem to have more questions than answers now. I hope we will continue these discussions together in future gatherings and work collectively towards a global approach to AI that is flexible, adaptable, widely shared, and ultimately enforceable. So thank you very much for being with us today. Kıymetli Hazırun, çok sağ olun bizimle olduğunuz için.
Çiğdem Hanım, biz de size çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Hem moderasyonunuz hem de bu güzel sohbete katkılarınız için. Thank you very much for this fruitful session. Please join me in front of the stage for the family picture and plaque ceremony. Efendim, plaketimizi takdim etmek üzere AYPA Yönetim Kurulu üyesi Muzaffer Can Atak geliyorlar sahneye. Plaketlerimiz de geliyor. Bir taraftan fotoğraflarımızın çekimlerini gerçekleştireceğiz. Evet, Çiğdem Hanım'a çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Sayın Kai Zenner, Sayın Isabel Louis, ve Sayın Fariz Jafarov, panelistlerimiz ve moderatörümüz. And one last family picture. Okay, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. Teşekkür ederiz. Sağ olun. Thank you, Mr. Zenner. Thank you, Miss Louise.